on these big companies by the city of Los Angeles, by the state of California. Where's this mandate coming from? Is it a national issue? Can somebody say, well, I don't want to live in LA anymore. I want to take my old TV set and go move out of LA and still get reception. Can they do that?
Actually, no. This is a national issue, and
so the federal government required this change.
That is correct.
So who's going to be providing the vouchers?
The vouchers are provided through the federal government through the organization dtv.org, and again, viewers can either access the city's website or go directly to dtv.org and be able to click on the links for actually downloading and printing coupons.
So most likely the people who are going to need these little boxes are going to most likely maybe be seniors and or poor families?
That is correct. The other avenue that we're also leveraging, that we'll be leveraging for helping get the word out, is viewers can also, residents and businesses can also call 311, and they will be able to provide information on what the viewers need to do.
So today people can get information like from 311, and then also that information is going to get more enhanced. They're going to see more brochures getting closer to February of next year, which is only about 7 months away.
That is correct. And we'll also broadcast on Channel 35 PSAs that also give outreach information.
Okay. I just want to warn people, if you have one of those old-fashioned TVs, you don't have to go buy a brand new TV. If you want to, that's your business, but you don't have to. You're going to be able to get a little converter box, 90% if not all of the cost for that $40, $50, $60 converter box. You're going to be able to get a voucher to cover the cost. So if you're afraid of having to go buy a $300, $400, $500 TV or what have you, you don't have to do that. Help is on the way. This is a federal mandate. It's going to happen throughout the country, but there's going to be ways in which you're not going to be affected with your pocketbook, and you're still going to be able to watch television. And the most important thing that we have to remind people, one of the reasons why the government is willing to help with these kinds of vouchers is television just isn't about fun. Television just isn't about watching your favorite show. When a disaster occurs or what have you, that is one of the ways in which you can get information. And the fact of the matter is, if you're using rabbit ears or the old-fashioned way of getting information, you're probably going to be better off, unfortunately, than if you had a cable line or something like that that might get cut. They might have to go repair it. But the wavelengths are free, and if you can get a little converter box, you're very likely going to be just as good, if not as good as anybody, in getting emergency information. So don't get rid of your old television if you can't afford it. Don't worry about that. Help is on the way, and we'll have more announcements like this in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, let's go ahead and prepare the roll on this item and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved.
And joining us now by phone is District 6 Council Member Tony Cardenas. Council Member Cardenas, thank you so much for joining us here on Council Week in Review.
Pleasure to be here, Gil.
And we just heard the conversation a little while ago about a new digital television transition mandate. And it all sounds very technical to a lot of people, as you can imagine. Explain for our Channel 35 viewers what the mandate is, and why do you think is it necessary?
Well, it's a federal mandate, so whether we think it's necessary or not, it's going to happen. So basically all the companies that give us television the way we have it today, they're no longer going to be allowed to do it by analog. That's a fancy way of saying if you've got rabbit ears on your television set, you can get a reception from like Channel 7 and 2, the network televisions. But now everything's going to be done digital. But it's no reason to be scared. You don't have to run out and buy a brand new TV set or a new flat screen or what have you. You can if you want to, but don't do it because of the change that's going to happen in February of next year. With this digital conversion, the federal government is going to give vouchers, and we're going to have them out here locally and give them locally to people who maybe can't afford to go out and get a new TV or get some kind of converter on their own. So they're going to give the vouchers that'll give them about $40 to $50 toward the $40, $50 system that they need, which is just a box that they connect to their television, and they can continue to get all the reception that they want and care about without having to go buy a new TV set or have a big expense.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about those vouchers in a little bit. You mentioned that, very important. We want to make clear also that this mandate, does it affect everybody? Because let's say, for example, I have cable coming into my house, and it's just basic cable. It's no cable box. Do I need to do anything special?
No, you shouldn't need to do anything special. All the cable companies are well aware of it. These are the companies that are being forced to actually make this digital conversion. So they've already been in the process of making sure that all their customers get what they need so that they don't lose customers or people don't have a problem seeing their television sets through their service. So that's all going to come together just fine with the private companies. What the federal government is going to make sure that they do is if somebody doesn't have cable and they just have an old-fashioned TV and they're getting just the regular channels through the air, that they can actually put something on their box. They're going to give them a voucher to do that so they can continue to watch television without having to go out and buy something.
About those vouchers, where are they available? And also, I also want to know, are they good for everybody or just certain pockets of the city of Los Angeles? Or
well, actually, they're going to be geared mainly toward people who are of low income, et cetera, maybe seniors on a fixed income or poor families that can't afford to go buy a TV set early next year because this change has come about. So there's going to be places in which people are going to be able to go get those vouchers. It's very likely that the city of Los Angeles, we're going to raise our hand and say, we're willing to give outlets in which we can give these vouchers out to the community on behalf of what's been given to us from the federal government. So by the time this rolls around, people are going to have plenty of places in which to get these vouchers, and by then they're going to know where to go get them, usually at a public place. Maybe it'll be our libraries. Maybe we'll have them at our local parks or special events and things of that nature. But we're going to take every resource that we can that makes sense for us to make them available to the public. They might be coming out from Washington, but us, the city of Los Angeles, we're going to make sure that we're helping out in any way that we can to get them into the hands of the people who need them.
Can you foresee possibly in the near future a city-sponsored event to hand out vouchers, particularly in your district?
Yeah, you kind of took my little secret. No, I'm just kidding. I think all the council members are going to participate. I'm sure the mayor's going to do what he can, et cetera. Every time we have big events, very likely these vouchers are going to be a part of it, and we're going to announce it. Any place where we're going to have Angelenos come together, we're going to make sure that these vouchers are there so that they can take advantage of it as well.
Okay, very good. About the converter boxes, roughly, do you know how much they will cost, and is it difficult to connect?
No, they're going to be really, really simple. It's just like connecting something 1, 2, 3, you're done. And then secondly, they're not big, complicated boxes. They're going to be pretty small. They fit right next to or on top of your TV set. And then on top of that, their estimated cost of these things are anywhere between, give or take $50. So the bottom line is the vouchers that the federal government's going to come up with is going to cover, if not 9/10 or all of that cost. So if they're $50 and the vouchers come up to be $40 or what have you, then somebody might have to pull $10 out of their pocket in order to make it work. But every signal that we're getting from Washington is they're going to try to make the vouchers be able to satisfy just being able to turn in the voucher and get a box.
Now, was that $50 a one-time fee, or will you have to keep paying that, let's say, monthly or bi-monthly?
That's a great question. It's a one-time fee. Once you get the box is good forever.
Let's say, for example, people who have satellite service. Now, will that person need a converter box?
No, actually, the satellite companies, I think all of them have gone digital already. So if you've already got the satellite service, very likely, nothing's going to affect you. The digital service is really going to affect this change that the federal government is forcing on all of the providers of service. Is really going to affect those people who have, basically the televisions with rabbit ears.
Let's say for our viewers who want more information about vouchers, anything at all to do with this digital transition in February, where can people go?
Oh, by then they're going to be able to call 311 and they'll connect them to the information technology department, and they're going to be able to communicate that way. So as we get closer, 311 is going to be fully aware of how to handle this, and then on top of that, there's going to be all these venues and places where, whether people like it or not, we're going to be telling them about it, and that we're going to get their attention. And so by the time February rolls around, there's going to be a full-blown effort for people to know what's going on, and they can actually call the city through 311, and then they'll be connected to who they need to talk to.
I'm going to expect that there are a lot of people that will call for this information because there's not a lot of information out there in the media talking about the transition. But we want to get the word out here in the city, absolutely.
Absolutely. We couldn't start talking about it soon enough, so I appreciate this opportunity to let people know all over Los Angeles that this is coming. But also at the same time, there's no need to panic if people think like they don't have all the answers today. Again, this is going to take effect in February of 2009, next year. So between now and then, the vouchers will come out. the city will go ahead and be able to start advertising them. The federal government's going to go ahead and get on the airwaves too and remind people that the day is coming. So people are going to, maybe even by then they'll be a little tired of hearing about it, but at the least everybody's going to know what's coming.
Now, I understand for those who want to get away from watching television for a while that you have organized, Councilman Cardenas, the first annual San Fernando Valley Summer Festival. Tell us what that is, when, and where.
Yeah, it's actually something that some community members and myself and my staff have been thinking about for quite some time. In the community of Van Nuys, in that Civic Center right off of Van Nuys Boulevard, there is, federal buildings and the city buildings, etc. And we're going to start having, movies. Kind of like what people might have been able to do in the old days. We're going to put the movies on a big projector screen out there in the plaza, and then at 4 o'clock, every time we have the movies starting this Saturday, June 28th, for example, from 4 to 6 p.m., we're going to have arts and crafts and a fun zone and information booths for all the kids and families. And then from 6 to 8 o'clock, we're going to have live entertainment. A lot of these times, we're going to try to incorporate kids and music from the community so they can come and perform. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to have our movies, like, for example, the first one is coming up on Saturday, the 28th of June. At 8 o'clock, we're going to see Alvin and the Chipmunks. So, kind of a fun movie that the whole family can enjoy. And then on top of that, we're going to go ahead and have it again on August 23rd. We're going to have the 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock activities. And then again, at 8 o'clock on August 23rd, that's a Saturday, we're going to have the movie called Night at the Museum. And then again, on Saturday, September 13th, again, we're going to have all the festivities. And then again, at 8 o'clock on September 13th, we're going to have Bajo de la Misma Luna, which happens to be a fun family film that I saw recently, and it's a beautiful, excellent film, and I think the families are really going to enjoy it.
Okay, and once again, the park where this is going to be playing at?
It's going to be playing in the Van Nuys City Hall in the back courtyard, but the actual address is 14410 Sylvan Street. But more simply put, if they just go to the corner of Van Nuys Boulevard and Sylvan in the community of Van Nuys, and this is open to everybody, and it's free. The movie's free. We're going to have popcorn and all kinds of other goodies. It's all free so that people can come and enjoy themselves. I came from a big family. There were 11 of us kids. It was kind of hard for our parents to get us all together and go see a movie. In this particular case, if you have one kid or you're a family of 10 or what have you, it's going to be the same cost. Free. Free for one person to come, free for 10 people to come. So we're going to encourage everybody to come and participate and hang out in the wonderful weather that we have and enjoy some movies, enjoy some fun, and even get a little information for the family as well.
You can't beat that. Free, fun, in these tough economic times during the summer, people can do things that are free and fun for the community.
Yeah, and it's very accessible. So even when it comes to the price of gas and things of that nature, it's very accessible to a lot of people who live out there in the community of Van Nuys. They can come walk to and from the events. And then in addition to that, it's right there on Van Nuys Boulevard, so you can always take the bus from anywhere to get to Van Nuys Boulevard.
Okay, very good. District 6 Council Member Tony Cardenas, thank you so much for joining us on Council Week in Review.
Thank you, Gil.
For more information on the festival, call 311, your one call to City Hall. And for information concerning the television converter boxes, log on to dtv.org. LA City View is the government access cable channel for the City of Los Angeles, featuring live coverage of City Council meetings and programming about City Department services and events. If you have any suggestions or comments about any of the programs you see on Channel 35 or would like to receive a free viewer guide, call our viewer hotline at 213-473-3978. We invite you to address the Los Angeles City Council on any item on the council agenda, as well as during public comment. You may come downtown to City Hall or go to the Van Nuys City Hall and participate via video teleconferencing. And remember, you can watch all Los Angeles City Council meetings live in their entirety on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays beginning at 10 a.m. On Sundays, you can watch the replay of all the week's meetings, also beginning at 10 a.m. Council Week in Review can be seen Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. and on Sunday at 9:30 a.m. That concludes our program for the week ending June 27, 2008. On behalf of Jack Popejoy and everyone here at Channel 35, I'm Gil Reyes. Thank you for watching, and please join us for the next Council Week in Review.
Cooking? Washing greasy food byproducts down the sink? Yes? Do you like clogged and blocked sewer lines that might cause a spill in your street or home? No? Well, neither do we. So please use paper towels to wipe oils and grease from your cooking utensils and throw away all the greasy items into the trash can. Doing so will help prevent grease blockages and keep the sewage where it belongs, in the pipes, and help us protect the environment and you.
Hey, buddy! You with the stupid hat! Come here. Closer. No parking! Do you know what happens when you park illegally on these narrow hillside streets? You block the street so emergency vehicles can't pass. Each year, homes are destroyed and lives are lost because of drivers like you who park illegally! And you know what else? You can get a citation! And you can be towed!
Help us get to the emergency. The life we save just might be yours.
How'd you know?
The ball called.
Hey, look out for the pothole!
LA City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
the sergeants at arms can assist in finding out where they are and bring them down, that would be great. Thank you. City Council meeting for July 2nd, 2008. We're here in the John Farrow Council Chambers in room 340 of City Hall. We meet here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. We want to greet our viewers on Channel 35 and those who have joined us live in person here in Council Chambers. It's a pleasure to have everyone here, and we appreciate your presence. We are available not only on television, but also through the Internet. All of our meetings are broadcast live on webcast at lacity.org. Just click on the links on the left side. Not only can you catch us live, but there's archived footage of our past council meetings as well. And there's podcasts you can sign up for and other great ways to improve the quality of your life here in Los Angeles. You can always use Council Phone, too, which is a service of the ITA, Information Technology Agency, to listen in via your telephone to any of the council proceedings by calling the following number, 213-621-CITY. That's 213-621-CITY. And you can listen to any of our council meetings or any of the committee meetings as well. Our agendas are available online and in person, 72 hours in advance for our regular meeting agenda items and 24 hours in advance for our special items. Agendas are available here in council chambers, in our city clerk's office, or online. Any of the items that have not yet received a public hearing in committee, you will be able to have your piece heard here in council if you fill out a speaker card in the back and fill out the number you'd like to be heard on. We'll make sure we call you and hear your comments. If you have comments of a general nature on items that are not on the agenda, but nevertheless under our jurisdiction, those too can be filled out in the back, and just put public comment in the upper right corner, and we'll make sure we get to it. We do have a quorum, so Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Gruel, Han, Weezer, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Westenstein, Garcetti, 10 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. If I can ask folks to kind of wind up their conversations and come, we're going to run through the agenda, colleagues. First order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Weiss moves, Mr. Weston seconds without objection. That'll be approved. Next order of business.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Ms. Gruel moves, and Mr. Weezer seconds without objection. That too will be approved. If we can run through the agenda, please.
First items on the agenda, Mr. President, are items noticed for public hearings. Items 1 through 5 are street lighting districts, and the recommendation for council action is to open the hearings and continue the hearings and ordinances to July 23rd.
Okay. Colleagues, any specials on those, 1 through 5? If not, we will go ahead and open those public hearings and continue the ordinances till the 23rd of July. Next items, please.
Next items are also public hearing items, items 6 through 10. They're findings of public convenience or necessity in council districts 11, 13, and 9, and the recommendation on all of them is to grant the applications.
Okay, we'll move the recommendations to grant. If there's no objection, we'll go ahead then on items 6 through 10. If no specials, open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Next items are items for which public hearings have been held, items 11 through 23.
All right, colleagues, 11 through 23. Any specials? Yes, Mr. Reyes.
Good morning, Council President.
Good morning.
22 and 23.
22 and 23 for Mr. Reyes. Any other specials, colleagues? Seeing none, let's go ahead then and open and close. Oh, no, we already had the public hearing on those. Not necessary. Let's take the balance, and please prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Next items are items for which public hearings have not been held, items 24 through 45. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, and we'll hold 24 on the desk, and also for cards from the public. Do we have any other cards from the public?
Yes, there are cards on 27, 28, 33, 34, 37, 39, 40, and 45.
Okay, let's call those special for cards from the public. On the remainder of these items, we'll go ahead and open and close the public hearings. Any specials? Any specials, colleagues, for 24 through 45? If not, let's go ahead and take the balance, please. Open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All except 25 are approved. 25 will go over to a second reading next week as an ordinance. Next items, please.
Next items, Mr. President, are the closed session items 46 through 52. Do you wish to hold those on the desk?
Yes, please. Let's hold those on the desk. And if we can call the roll for the special meeting, please.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Gruel, Han, Weezer, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Weston, Stein, Garcetti, 10 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay. First items, please.
There are 3 items on the agenda. Items 53 through 55 are items for which public hearings have not been held.
Okay. Do we have cards on any of those?
I believe there are cards on 53 and 54.
Okay, we'll call those special and hold the commissioner. Mr. Rosendahl? Okay, Mr. Rosendahl, 55. So let's take those 3 items, and if we can continue them back into the regular meeting and adjourn the special meeting, we'll now go to public comment. Our first speaker for public comment is Donna Pearman, in person in council chambers. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Spring Street. Anyway, it was really a trip to come downtown, and you come all the way on the subway, and luckily someone told me where to get off, because it doesn't say Spring Street, it says Pershing Street. And then I got lost because I was going to 300 Spring Street, because somebody said that's where the council was, but finally I looked on the agenda, and I finally found it. Anyway, I want to remind the president of the city that he's Jewish, and you and the city council need to take care of the swastikas. It's very dangerous, must be taken seriously. When it's a mean-spirited, dangerous, and threatening to people, they cannot use the right of free speech. We have a real problem with anti-Semitism. Also, Israel has a problem with people who don't want to let them exist. Israel hasn't done anything not done by any other country, counting our country. What about North Korea, who totally control all art? Must be sponsored by the party. They ban classical music and imprison artists. I saw it on the TV. Who's out there in droves to complain about North Korea? I'm strongly for Jews and their right to exist. The Jews should have the safe haven. Also, we don't need our city council to be a totalitarian system with the CRA running the show, be oblivious to our wants and needs. We don't need the council to tax us to death while they pander to the rich developers in the CRA. CRA is out to ruin the hardworking middle class who are the backbone, while the money of the middle class is being spent on the Grand Avenue project. I'm sorry, but the council is not out for our interests unless it already pleases them. CRAs and developers are violating Prop J, and the subway to the sea violates laws also. And it's not fair to put Prop H with only 15 signatures. In the meantime, we're having... Anyway, we need to stop all these taxes and give it back to the city middle class, and let's listen to Zuma Dog, because he has the right way. ZumaDog.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Little cross-branding there. Zuma Dog is our next speaker. I hope you're going to plug her website, too.
Yes, by the way, it's ZumaTimes.com. Also, I'd like to say over the Hannah Montana issue, once again, Hannah Montana has been criminalized and Zuma Dog has been violated again. Yesterday, you saw the Hannah Montana stand-up. Matt Dowd was allowed to have it here. Well, today I came in with my Hannah Montana stand-up. They say, oh, you can't have a Hannah Montana stand-up in council chambers. I say, well, what about Matt Dowd? And they say, well, gee, that was only a one-time thing, only for Matt Dowd. You guys just bend down on your knees and beg me to sue. And I think I might, y'all. And the only reason I respected it is due to the fact of Steve, who I love so much. It's called community-based policing. An officer was able to make a difference. I didn't push it all the way to the top and get the sergeants and demand to have my Hannah Montana stand up. I say, all right, Steve, I like you. We have a great relationship, and I let it pass. And that's called community-based policing, when an officer can make a difference without having to go through enforcement. Thank you so much. And I have a Hannah Montana gift pack if any council member would like to make one of their constituents' 4th of July holiday. The first council member, it did cost me $3 for this gift pack, and it's to help kids with school. It's a backpack for their books, and it's a little stationery kit to help them write, and then it can help them get excited about school. That's what it's about. I have 10 packages. Council Member Zine will take one. Thank you so much. I've got 9 more available if you'd like to help kids. And let's see, I'd like to remind everybody that summer's here, the time is right for living in the streets. There's going to be a lot of that. That should be the theme song of L.A. Move to L.A., living in the streets, y'all. That's what's going to be happening, because in case you haven't heard, the price of gas, the city is not going to be able to provide its own services. No disrespect to council. At this price of gas, you're not going to have trash removal. You're not going to be able to respond to police calls. all hell will be breaking loose. Eli Broad said this is the worst he's seen it in his adult lifetime. He agrees with Zuma Dog. Batten down the hatches, y'all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dog. Lucy Caruso is our next speaker. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm looking, can you hear me?
If you could get your mouth a little bit closer to the microphone, we can't quite. That would be great. Thank you.
I'm looking at a report called Los Angeles 2007 State of the City Report. And thank you. And to just briefly touch on some things, it says between 89 and 2005, the working poor among those aged 25 to 64 in the city of Los Angeles has grown. It says that there's a steady slippage of more and more families into the ranks of working poor. And it says they consider the distribution of wages that are working. And it mentions Los Angeles outpaced Chicago in the 1980s to be the second largest city. I do a lot of I want to comment a little bit on one point. Before I moved to Los Angeles, I compared salaries between Chicago and LA to see if they were comparable, to see if I could move here. And in those days, the want ads would list the salaries of the actual companies. And I also did temp work for 10 years. And what happens is they title, the catch on this is this: you have a job title and you have your job duties. What they title you is a receptionist, which would be an $8, $9, $10 an hour job. But your duties would be administrative or executive, where is a $12 to $18 per hour. So I believe that really needs to look into on what's going on with how companies are not distributing the pay correctly. The other thing I wanted to mention was this newspaper article about sober living homes that are growing. And it mentions how these greedy property owners have lined up to milk up to $8,000 a month from rents. That city officials are listening. Sorry.
Oh, no need to apologize. Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments. Arnold Sachs is our next speaker. After Arnold Sachs, we'll go out to Van Nuys, and Rick Nightingale will be our speaker in Van Nuys after that. Good morning, Mr. Sachs.
Thank you. Another transit issue. Arnold Sachs, speaking about another transit issue. Tomorrow is a meeting for the Expo Line Construction Authority at 10 o'clock at the County Board of Supervisors, if you're interested. And the head of the Expo Line is the Honorable Jan Perry. And I'm reading from the Downtown News regarding a development on Park Avenue 5th. The expenditure during very tough economic times may be redundant expenditure, and one whose improvements may be undone. So, she as well as the County Board of Supervisors, actually recognizes when something is redundant. So I ask in regard to the Expo Line, and I'm reading from the bill, Chapter 827, Senate Bill number 504, passed in 2003, the Exposition Metro Line Construction Authority. The people of the state of California do enact as follows. Items, Chapter 7, letter E, the project is the Los Angeles Exposition Metro Line Light Rail Project extending from the Metro Rail Station at 7th Street and Flower Street to the city of Los Angeles to the downtown of the city of Santa Monica. Now I'd like to read from the Transportation Commission's report dated in April. The definition, 1.1, project. These activities that are necessary to meet the objective of constructing and placing in revenue operation a light rail transit line known as the Metro Exposition Light Rail Transit Line. So both of them recognize that as the Exposition Light Rail Transit Line. Now I'd like to read from the agenda of 416, approve the funding agreement with the Metro in connection with the Mid-City Exposition Light Rail Transit Project. Then I'd like to read from the LA County Transportation Authority capital project list. Mid-City Exposition Light Rail Corridor funding, Where is the mid-city area come
Thank you,
from?
sir. Appreciate your comments today. Rick Nightingale is our next speaker out in Van Nuys. Thank you for your time, sir. Rick Nightingale, and then after that, Noel Weiss back here in Chambers.
Whoa.
Go ahead. We'll credit you. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Thank you. Rick Nightingale. This kind of regarding the gang bond measure. You know, I always believe that the parents start when the child is between 1 and about 7 years old to teach them values. And after that, after they hit the schools and pass kindergarten and so forth, then they kind of look at all the other kids and see what's going on. I never heard anybody talk about seeing about a committee or something for the parents for a little guidance. They always say, well, after the kid's bad, or if you want to call them bad, that they turn around and have the parks and so forth. But if you don't start the values early, it ain't going to cut it. And there should be something in there where they could have parental guidance classes for parents, especially the parents, that there's not two parents in the household no more very often. So there's something that has to be done regarding that. And yesterday some children got up there and read their letters and about the housing situation. People don't realize how much money it costs for an apartment building or anything to survive. Between these bond measures that they can't raise the rent because of the bond measures, between the water that they use, that when they get mad at a landlord or something, because I'm very strict with our family's apartment building, they turn around and let the water run. For like a 4-unit, our water bill is $700 because they get mad because we wouldn't let other people move in, so they just let the water run, so we get penalized. Between the other expenses, they just don't realize how much money it takes to survive to do this, and especially if somebody buys a new building, what the tax structure is regarding this. And you people just keep bending over backwards thinking you're going to give low housing and come up with more money to do this, where, this is why I've lost so many friends. They couldn't afford to be here. They moved back east so they could survive in life these days, especially retired people. Thank you.
Noel Weiss is our next speaker. After that will be Mike McWilliams.
Council members, good morning. I'm here basically because of what happened last Friday with regard to the tenant relocation fee situation. The people watching this need to understand what happened. Janice Hahn had arranged for the fee location raise to be sunsetted so that come July 1st, everybody would be getting $9,000 and $17,000. Herb Wesson introduced a motion that basically said, let's keep the differential, because tenants earning over 80% or residing 3 years or less got $2,300 or less. As a result of what amounts to a bureaucratic move, Herb Wesson introduced a motion at the last minute on a Friday, had it Friday afternoon heard, and the bottom line was there were 11 votes for basically allowing Herb to do what he wanted to do. But when Herb got that originally passed, he promised to hold hearings. And the fact is that no hearings were held, and the result was, and also more importantly, there was no debate on the issue. And that's what I'm complaining about. Whether Herb is right, whether the council is right, I don't know. But if Mr. Garcetti, Ms. Gruhl, Mr. Rosendahl, and Janice Hahn had stood up, then you know what? There would have been a debate, and Herb wouldn't have had the votes. Or there would have been a change. And the result is we would have known where our representatives stand and why they chose to change their minds. But short of that, we should have had that 9 and 17. That should not have been done. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the kind of retreat into mediocrity that's not good for this council, that basically diminishes the faith of the people in their government. It undermines the social contract between the people of their government. And the bottom line is, even the fact that Herb won, you know what? That win came at a huge cost. It came at the cost of Herb's credibility, and it came at the cost of the moral legitimacy of this council in terms of doing its job, which is merely to debate these issues like we did with regard to...
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Anyway. Mike McWilliams is our next speaker. After that will be Michael Hunt. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
Be on your job.
Hold on one second, Mr. Wesson.
No, the point I'm making, Mr. President, I have no problems with anything, but the rule is you're not supposed to single out people, and
address the council as a whole, and no individual council members.
And to have somebody question my credibility,
absolutely.
And how dare somebody question my ability to count votes?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Wesson. Mike McWilliams is our next speaker, and just a reminder to folks to address the council as a body, please.
Good morning, Your Honors. I have a couple of comments about the Venice Boardwalk. The new rules are such that the amplified musicians are put into two big blocks. I have a problem with this. Picture this. I'm an amplified musician. I'm performing at the prescribed level, 96 decibels. 10 feet away from me on this side is another amplified musician performing at 96 decibels. 10 feet on this side of me is another amplified musician performing at 96 decibels. You see what kind of problem this causes? It's a big mess. I have another comment. I kind of preferred it when it was like a box of chocolates and you never knew what you were going to get when you were walking down the boardwalk. If you could put the amplified musicians maybe 6 or 7 spaces apart, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Hunt is our next speaker. It's Michael Hunt here. And after that will be Matt Dowd. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the boardwalk, too. 90% of the boardwalk is going fine. The 10% need to be worked out. The kinks need to be worked out with the community and the police department. It's a little tic-tacky, but it could be worked out. Let's report the good things now, that a lot of people do have new jobs and a lot of people are working again. That's what counts. Like I said, the other 10% need to be worked out. And Herb Weston, I too agree with you. You shouldn't attack one council guy or whatever. So you should. So you guys should check it out.
Thank you.
Well, I am addressing the council. It was on the issue, so I just want to make sure that everything is going all right. And like I said, the community and the police need to get together and work out the little kinks. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Matt Dowd is our next speaker.
Yeah, thank you. It's a crazy time in the city of Los Angeles. We've had the city people say that the city of Los Angeles is having a hell of a time with juries right now. And me and Mike Hunt are heading to a jury against the city because the city hasn't settled the case. Now we've got the number one tourist attraction in the county, Venice Beach, that's the jewel of the city of Los Angeles. And there's a bunch of people watching me get arrested over a Hannah Montana cardboard cutout. Now what the hell is wrong with that, people? And I got the biggest cheer ever that I've had. I want to thank all those people for acknowledging that what I said was First Amendment protected speech. That's what we're here about. It's religious protection. It's the First Amendment. We're still in litigation. And then you got an officer who's named in that litigation coming down on me for Hannah Montana. But, I don't want to be confrontational. We just want to work out the kinks now. There's just, a microphone. Well, see, it's okay for Councilman Herb Wesson, that law, but not for me. And I hate to just say it like that, too. But it's like nothing over 4 feet tall for a microphone. It's ridiculous. How would Bill Rosendahl feel if he was down there campaigning for his next run for some elected position, which is bound to be around the corner? Of what? I don't know. He said president, and I don't know of what. But until we settle the Venice Boardwalk, I'm ready to just talk. We got a few little things to work out, and we'll go away.
Thank you, Mr. Dowd. Thank you. Carol Lee. Is Carol Lee here?
Hi, Carol Lee Zubich. Can you hear me? Carol Lee Zubich. There are a few kinks that need to be worked out. I am a tarot reader on the boardwalk. I set up in an amplified zone. And I can tell you from observing that we really don't have to cooperate. We can, the bands can just play at will, and that needs to be worked out. The thing that is going good is there are jobs being created for the community. And I think that with a little bit of cooperation from the city, that things could be changed and worked out a little bit better. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Mr. Garza, did you want to speak? I don't have a card, but come forward for some reason.
I filled out a speaker card, and I want everybody to listen to what I'm going to say. Yesterday in the rotunda, I was having a good time with Mr. Matt Dowd and Zuma Dog, and they had their little Hannah Montana cut out. But I had no idea that Matt Dowd had said some horrible things one day in reference to anti-Semitic statements. He even told me that. And then he laughed about it. And I was like, well, I'm a tolerant person. I'll walk with him to his car, whatever. But as soon as I got home, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because how can you sit there in this sacred chamber and sit there and say that, well, if I understand it correctly, what he said was, well, if I wasn't anti-Semitic, maybe Jack Weiss makes you want to be an anti-Semite. Some words to that effect. That's what he told me. Words to the effect. I'm going to speak up against that stuff. I want them to take me to the court of public opinion. I want them to drag my name through the dirt. My doctor that helped me in this city, in Tarzana, was an Orthodox Jew who had very many connections with all of the Jewish community in this country and outside of this country to help veterans get well when the VA did not acknowledge low-level exposure to sarin nerve agent. And now they're using his model of treatment years later after they've acknowledged it. But I got to tell you something, I'm going to stand up against that sort of speech. Something has got to be done. Zuma Dog has learned that you don't go overboard like that. And I appreciate the fact that Zuma Dog doesn't do that. But the other thing is, leave it in here. Don't be taking it out there, because as far as I'm concerned, when anybody is out there harassing somebody like Jack Weiss, that's what it amounts to. It amounts to workplace violence. And imagine somebody being told and anti-Semitic words expressed, and then they take it out there. I would be very, very frightened. Something has to be done.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. We appreciate your comments very much. Hefi here? Our last speaker, Hefi?
Good morning. I come to represent Abbott Kinney. He's the creator of Venice, and out here in Venice, we have some problems going on that could be worked out if the city council would just take a look at it and see what's going on with the vendors and the acts and things of this nature. Also with the police, the way that they just harass. The way the police are harassing the vendors, and also the way, just the whole thing, how the boardwalk scheme is going on. If we would just have a little bit more interest from the city council to see that we can fix these problems, it would be greatly appreciated. And to have them stop harassing, like Matt Dowd and Mike Hunt, they're going through a lot of problems too with these police officers. And if there's some kind of way we could see that, maybe we could have someone just let them alone. All right, and I thank y'all.
Thank you very much, sir. That closes our general public comment for today. We'll return to a couple housekeeping things. Items 29 through 32, Mr. Cardenas would like to reconsider. If we can also reconsider 18 and 25. So 18, 25, 29 through 32. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
If there's no objection, items 27 through 32, we're going to bring those back in 2 weeks from today in order to have some of the folks that are providing these services here in Chambers to answer any questions that you have about those individual gang reduction and youth development zones. That is on the 16th, and the mayor's office will help us bring those folks in as well. So without objection, that'll be continued 2 weeks to the 16th. Item 25, if we can take a vote on again now that we have 12 members. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. If we can take up our first commissioner, and item number 24, please invite the commissioner to come forward, the nominee.
Good morning, and good morning to the City Controller, Laura Chick.
Thank you, Madam Acting
Like to
President.
say a few words on behalf of the appointee.
Thank you. I would like to introduce Nidra Jenkins to all of you. I'm so proud to be here today to forward her nomination to the Ethics Commission. You might not have realized that the City Controller actually gets two appointments. One is the Ethics Commission, and the other is the School Bond Oversight Committee. But the Ethics Commission is near and dear to all of our hearts. It's important. And I've known Nidra for several years. I met her originally through her involvement with Black Women Lawyers Association. And then she volunteered her time to go through over 100 resumes about 6 years ago to help us forward resumes of women who wanted to be appointed to commissions in the city of Los Angeles. And I am forever grateful to her for that. She is a graduate of my alma mater, UCLA, but UCLA Law School. She's an undergrad from University of Chicago. She began practicing law as a contract attorney in the Compton City Attorney's Office and then went to the private sector into a firm. And for the last 12 years, she's been at the office of the Los Angeles County Council, where she is now a principal deputy county counsel. She is deeply involved in giving back to the community. She is the past president of the Black Women Lawyers Association, past president of the Helen Buhai Center for Family Law. She's been named one of Southern California's Super Lawyers Rising Stars by Law and Politics magazine 4 years in a row. She is a person of great character, of fine integrity. She has a great commitment and enthusiasm for government service. It just exudes from her. Look at this personality. She will be an outstanding member and not a shy and meek member of our Ethics Commission, and I urge a unanimous vote. Thank you, council members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, City Controller. And if you would like to say a few words on your own behalf, please proceed.
Thank you. I welcome the opportunity to sit on the Ethics Commission. I'm very excited about it. I've spoken with the executive director. I've also spoken with a current member of the Ethics Commission, and I look forward to working with the 4 other people that sit on the Ethics Commission. There are some exciting issues that are before the city, and I welcome the opportunity to do due diligence and make positive changes within the city.
Thank you very much. Mr. Garcetti, as chair of the committee, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Madam Controller, for a great nomination. I enjoyed very much sitting down yesterday with Ms. Jenkins, and now she hails from Northeast Los Angeles, so Mr. Huizar and Mr. Reyes are basically neighbors and representatives of her, and I represent an area very close by, so it's great to have Northeast LA represented well. And I very much enjoyed speaking with you about your perspectives on everything from public financing to how we can do enforcement issues, and I think that we've seen a really strong, I'm obviously partial to our previous incarnations because I am related to one of the people that was on it, but a very strong ethics commission that really has stood up and is trying to tackle some of the biggest policy issues. From my own perspective, as I shared yesterday, we've made a lot of improvements, but a lot of it is moving furniture around, really changing the entire room as full public financing, and that still, to me, is a goal that we should get to and figure out a way to be at. We saw at the state level, though, a rush to doing that too quickly and not doing it the right way resulted, unfortunately, in its non-passage in California. But would you share with us a little bit about just participation in the process right now? What do you think, and you've worked as a poll worker, so you've seen it from the grassroots level, you certainly understand the issues from the policy level, what we can do to give people greater and greater faith about democracy, greater and greater participation in elections, and ensuring that people have full accountability as to what and who is funding elections and possible ways of moving away from them.
As I shared with you yesterday, I've volunteered as a poll worker for 2 to 3 elections within the city, and so I got to see it both as a voter as well as a person working the polls. And one of the things that I noticed is that depending on the election, you have very poor voter turnout. The largest voter turnout that I saw was during the recall election, and the polling places were packed the entire day. The other 2 times that I volunteered to be a poll worker, it was a sprinkling and a smattering of people coming in. So I think that one of the things as a member, as a person, as a resident of the city of Los Angeles, that we could do is get people more enthused about voting and make voting more accessible. I like the changes that are happening in the city where people are able to vote in libraries in advance of polling the voting day because of time constraints. In terms of public financing, one of the things that has worked in other states, in Arizona and Maine, also there's been changes in North Carolina, is moving toward public financing. And I understand that the city of Los Angeles is looking into it, and it's one of the things that is being considered. And I think it's a great idea for it to be considered, and that we do our proper due diligence in the event that the city decides to enact law to allow public financing, that we do it the right way and that we can finance it.
Absolutely. And just one last note, I encourage you to, again, I think the MTA has shown a really good and high bar for ethics in helping also electeds have the information rather than trying to do the gotcha of, oh, they forgot this, or you didn't know, or you had 1,000 donations and we found one that you should have recused yourself on, but if you didn't retain every single donation you ever have, the Commission can help, and I know it's a staffing issue too, so you can be an advocate with us at budget time, but to make sure that that information is there so that good people can make good decisions, we need to find bad people wherever they exist, and when that happens, that's another category. But where good people, I think, have oversight, the MTA has really been a great example of what can be done to help and to make sure that people know when they shouldn't be part of a decision, to give people out there the faith that no decisions are being influenced by any outside forces. So I'm very excited about your nomination. Thank you again, Ms. Chick, for a great nomination. And as Chair for Rules and Government Committee, we did waive it out of committee because of some time considerations, but I ask everybody for their full support today to make Ms. Jenkins a full commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Before we go on to the numbers of council members who want to speak, we have two speaker cards, so I'll call you up right now. Zuma Dog and Arnold Sachs, if you could come to the lectern and take your time. Mr. Sachs, if you can start coming forward, so you'll be next.
Yes, good morning, Controller Chick and Ms. Nedra Jenkins. My name's Zuma Dog. I think I'll be placing my name on the ballot for mayor in 2009 because we need more ethics. So hopefully we'll be working together. I certainly hope so. Ethics, the most important problem we have, but it's of immeasurable waste. That's the problem. Now, gas emissions, you could measure how much that costs people, how much to fix the problem. Ethics, Dr. W. Edwards Deming, by the way, I base everything I say on the principles of Dr. W. Edwards Deming, the quality management guru. I'm sure former council member Chick knows who he is. And you can't measure the loss due to lack of ethics. A lot of the things that happen in the city, they say, oh, it's not illegal, just unethical. However, I think a lot of the things are illegal. Many council members here, boy, they're just hoping I don't mention some things, and it's not about specifics, but I think that if you can please, as the ethics commissioner, you need to sit down with council and say, you know what, I call it the Scarface syndrome. You watch the movie Scarface. Well, I'm of to say that, all politicians, all government bodies, they're all somewhat corrupt and a lot of waste and coffers and things, a little bit of tip in the maitre d'. I think this administration is way out of control. Just you get too comfortable in all the protection with Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, for example. I feel like, sure, all mayors are a little bit shady, but I feel he's just living in a comfort zone. He doesn't even realize it. Then like Scarface, when he was out of control and he's doing his own supply, and before you know it, he's shooting people with cokes all over his face, and he's way out of control, and that's what brings you down. That's the Scarface lesson. Brush it back, all right? City of Los Angeles, the mayor and city council. We know sometimes you got to tip the maitre d' to get a project going, but this is Scarface corruption.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Arnold Sachs is our next speaker, followed by Matthew Dowd.
Yes, good morning, Arnold Sachs. And this is the city council that voted, that won the election when they extended term limits, also extended the ethics. So I would ask the ethics commissioner, the new appointee, I don't know if you heard what I mentioned regarding the transit issue with the Expo line. And I'd ask the controller, who would you audit? The state law doesn't mention either the mid-city area, the city law doesn't mention the mid-city area, but the agendas and the county board, the county transit department mention mid-city. They're funding it, but there's no mention for the state. The ethics that start at the top filter down through state, through county, through city to what? What do you have left? Who are you going to charge with being more upfront? The public is listening, hopefully. The public needs to know that their weapon is the polls. They need to show up. There's so much billowing going on from the council chambers by the council members. Public needs to know that their vote means something. Forget the promises. They've been going on and on and on. We have incentives. We have a new gang tax incentive. Where is the funding going? Who do you go after? And I'd also ask that the new commissioner please sit, if she has the opportunity, to stay a little longer and listen to some other of the talk that's going to go on in the council chambers today. She'll find it very enlightening. Thank you for your time, your answers, and your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Dowd.
Hey, thank you so much. First of all, too, I want to point out that anything I say here is broadcast to Channel 35. The whole world hears it. There's no containing it to the room. I'm sorry, so let me talk about ethics. Mr. City Attorney as well, because the attorneys are guilty of not being very ethical in this city. They're the ones I should really say, fuck the city attorney and get arrested for that.
Excuse me, we'll stop your time for now. I have an admonition from the city attorney. Mr. Mike.
Let the speaker note that the fact that if the speaker is off topic, to be reprimanded for that.
Council President.
And to be disruptive and can have that consequence as well.
Mr. Council President, you want to add to that? Mr. Council President, you want to add to that? Mr. Garcetti? Is that sufficient?
One warning and that's it.
One warning. All right, that's your first warning. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. Now that I have your attention, I want to talk about the Ethics Commission because, when we talk about ethics, it always reminds me of that Billy Madison movie where they had the question on ethics. And this commissioner needs to probably go and watch that movie because the guy in the suit is the one who breaks out in the sweat in the end and pulls out a gun and goes crazy, not the guy on the street. So go watch the movie because there's an ethical question in there and the guy in the suit breaks down and he doesn't even know what ethics are. He doesn't even know what they are. So it's a big one. All these campaign donations from the developers so you can build more condos and jam more people into the city so that there's no infrastructure to support them. The freeways are jammed. Eric Garcetti reminds me of the guy in the suit. So I'd be looking at him because ethically, no, this is...
Okay, I'm going to have to stop your time again and again give you a warning that you're going off topic. So would you please stay on the topic before you?
Okay, the Garcetti name is synonymous with the Ethics Commission, right? So anything I say about that is relevant to ethics.
Mr. President, if we can also refer to the fact that the speaker addressed the totality of the council, not individuals.
I love all the shutdowns.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Channel 35. The Matt Dowd Show will be right back.
Thank you. First council member, Ms. Gruhl, I believe you pushed your button to speak on this item.
Thank you very much. And this is a position, as Laura and I spoke and you did this morning, that's very important. The Ethics Commission is one of those items that, or commissions that can take on some of those tough issues that I've appreciated going and testifying because I thought that they should deal with issues that Janice Hahn and I talked about, ensuring a balance between in the neighborhood councils between putting out information and necessary reporting, and at the same time allowing people to participate, to making sure our commissioners are not involved in fundraising, to looking at a number of ways that we can, I guess, revive the public's interest in voting, as you mentioned, and to give them something that says it's important to vote. I may not all agree with my elected official, but I know that they're doing the right thing and everything is transparent. And so I ask you as a new commissioner, there are a number of proposals that have gone through the commission, some of which that this council did not adopt, which some of us voted for several years ago. I think it was in my first year of being elected. And a lot of things that have come forward, and to say, let's go back and look at some of those things. Because Laura and I were speaking this morning, we talked about the commission and ban on fundraising, which had been talked about for years, but it was the basis of an audit that came out that timing was everything. And so some of those ideas that may have been floated before that were unacceptable coming forward, we would appreciate. And so I think your experience and knowledge is going to be a great asset to the Ethics Commission. We're still trying to figure out independent expenditures and how we deal with that in the city. But most, I think, important is transparency in how we do that. And so I welcome, my mantra when a commissioner comes up, as I say, it should not only be the time you come before the council that we see you or that we hear from you, to pick up the phone and say, here's some ideas, what do you think? And I've had the opportunity with a few other commissioners, I think actually Mr. Garcetti's appointment, was his appointment, Michael, to talk about here's what we'd like to see on the Ethics Commission, because it's done great work, and I want to see the commissioners play an active role, and all of Laura's appointments have played an active role throughout their career. So you have some big shoes to fall, to fill after that. But I just wanted to stand up and say congratulations and support your appointment and your history and what you've done and your employment. I think it bodes well for you being a very activist commissioner. So I look forward to hearing back from you. Maybe we can have a chance to, after you gotten your feet wet, and learn some of the things. But let's dust off some of those great ideas where there was not the political will in the past to do it that we can potentially now in the future. So thank you very much, Nedra.
Thank you, Ms. Kroll. Next speaker is Mr. Wesson.
Thank you, Madam President and members. I don't rise. I have no questions. But I do want to make a quick statement. I want to applaud Controller Chick. This is an appointment. This is a recommendation. I don't know, I can't remember how long I've known Ms. Jenkins, but other than being brilliant, and she is, she's very balanced. She has a approach to the way that she handles things. And I think that it's real easy for ethics commissioners to kind of react to the way the wind is blowing. And I don't believe that I know you're not that type of person. And it's important to recognize for every action that there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if we're going to have an ethics commission, I would like to have these commissioners, powerful commissioners, have the guts to do what's right, not just what's popular at that point in time. And I could say without a shadow of a doubt that that's the commissioner that Ms. Jenkins will be. She could be doing a lot of other things, but she remained grounded, and she always gives back to the community. This is a pleasure and an honor for me to vote thumbs up for you today. And it was a pleasant surprise to see you again. So I urge, as did Council President Garcetti, that this is a commissioner that we will all be very, very proud of. Laura, you've done good.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Mr. Huizar.
Oh, thank you. There you go. Hello, good morning to both of you, and welcome, Ms. Jenkins, from the beautiful community of Eagle Rock, a great community in Northeast LA that lots of great things happening there. Briefly, one is we recently passed Measure L a few months ago, no, not a few months ago, about a year ago, which now allows the City Ethics Commission to oversee some of the expenditures made by school board members. First time that has ever happened where there is an entity with some oversight looking over some regulations that now exist thanks to Measure L. So I know we've asked the Commission to do a lot more, and that we didn't really fund it, but I wanted to just make you aware that although we didn't put additional funding for it, it's something that is just as important. So I know you'll be looking at some of those, but I hope it doesn't get pushed to the side in terms of priorities because of our resources. The other item I just simply wanted to question, have you ever thought about public financing of campaigns, and if you have any thoughts on that?
I have thought about it. I think it's a good idea. I think it works. It's been working in Arizona since 2000. It's been working in Maine since, I believe, 1996 when it was first passed in Maine, and it's working in North Carolina for the judicial elections. It's just a matter of how will it work here.
Big question, and I know it's been talked about before. And so thank you. I think the Ethics Commission plays a very important role in keeping government fair and transparent, and it is one of the commissions that the public certainly pays attention to in terms of the performance of our government overall. And so thank you for your willingness to serve, and thank you, Controller, for being here today as well. It shows a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar. And then finally, Mr. Rosendahl.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning.
Good morning.
My ears really perked up when we were talking about, reform in terms of taking money out of politics. I'm a real big believer that if we can take it out, we would have health care for everybody in Washington rather than the insurance companies and the drug companies calling that, okay? All these issues have the impact of special interest groups around us. Everybody's a special interest. I mean, the labor union is, League of Women Voters are. Everybody can come before us and discuss their particular point of views and stuff. But the money part is the problem. And in our particular elections, we get very little media coverage. We get some stuff in the Daily News and in the LA Times, but we get very little. So we have to do handbills, and we have to do this, and we have to do that. And then those special interests that have an impact on us, land use issue type, get close, and they move in, and they try to be supportive of a person running for office. My ultimate dream is public financing, period, and take it all out of the room. And I mean on every level of government, but I'd love to start with the one I'm most connected with, which is city. You mentioned Arizona, you mentioned Maine. Talk a little bit more about your vision of how we talk about real reform when it comes to getting money out of the political process.
I have to say I would love to talk about it a little bit more, but I have to do more due diligence. I understand that public financing has been discussed within the city, and it's in the Rules Committee right now. I'm not sure at this point how the city has approached it so far. I've read about how Arizona, Maine, and North Carolina have approached it and how it's working. So I'd like to spend some time learning about how we've approached it so far, look at whether it's consistent or inconsistent with what's being done in Arizona, what ideas have been thrown out there as to how it's going to be paid for. But I just don't have that information right now. But I would love to meet with you once I'm up to speed and discuss it some more when I'm better informed.
I really look forward to that. It's a passion of mine to take money out of politics. The second is the ethics itself and how the commission works and so on and so forth. There's a cottage industry. We got lawyers on our payrolls. We got others on our payroll just to help us ferret through what I think is problematic. A person can end up wanting to be part of your support, but they can't for this and that. So we have lawyers that help us interpret it. What would be a dream for me when you get on the commission, because we're going to appoint you, Mr. Wesson said it all about that, is a simple sheet of do's and don'ts so that any moron like me, ain't that bright, can simply understand it enough, and I don't have to have these lawyers and these others that have to explain it to me as a cottage industry. Can I get a sense that you'll help us become simple enough to have some points?
I think that's an affirmative yes, so overwhelming yes. I think we have some very good examples at the MTA, at Metro. We have a fantastic ethics department there, and they've done a fabulous job of making ethics user-friendly, and I think that's basically what you're asking for.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. Please.
May I just comment? One of the first things that I talked to Nidra about is exactly that. I've been around now 15 years. And one of the things that has frustrated me is the lack of proactive, preventative work that could be coming out of ethics, and I have a personal experience that is a painful one,
Yeah.
where I made a mistake, and I wanted to make sure everyone else knew, and it turned out a year later that no one was better informed than the year before. It involved sending out greeting cards with office holder funds, and we all want to follow the rules, and the rules should be made simple, and we should be reminded of the rules in a customer-friendly way. So
Beautiful.
I expect Nidra to be a tiger on that issue.
And thank you for
all
stepping
of
on the
us.
plate and serving the city.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it very much. Thank
And
you.
I'm very appreciative of the controller thinking enough of me to make me her appointment.
Thank you. All right. With that, let's go ahead and take the vote. If we can please prepare the roll on the nomination and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Congratulations. A round of applause for our new commissioner. Thank you. We can take up our next commissioner, please.
And that's item number 24, and that's confirmation of Angela Reddick to the Board of Transportation Commissioners.
We could ask the Honorable Angela Reddick to step forward. And we're very excited to have you continuing your service. I'd like to recognize Mr. Rosendahl to say a couple words.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning.
It's a real pleasure to have you stepping back up onto the plate. You've been a great leader, and you're a great leader in other parts of our region here and the Community College Board and other things that you do. Transportation is a passion of all of us. We on the west side are in total gridlock. We've really had it. We want to get that Expo line to the beach. I want to get the Green Line into the airport, down in the South Bay and up Santa Monica, no north-south relief pattern. I want to see the subway to the sea. I want to see the GO line too. But my biggest problem right now is the politicians are tooling for a half a cent. It should be a penny. They should grow a bigger pie and give bigger slices so we can simultaneously do all these projects now. The voters have had it out there. And if they saw a plan that truly shows that the money is being spent on transportation issues over the next 20 years, it would give us a sense of relief. What is your sense about the overall gridlock we have? And as a commissioner and as a thoughtful, insightful person, where do we need to go right now on that issue?
Well, thank you, Councilman Rosendahl, and thank you to President Garcetti and the entire council. It's definitely a pleasure to be here and to be up for reappointment by the mayor. And I was originally appointed by Mayor Hahn in 2002, and certainly I'm honored that the mayor would want to reappoint me now. And I'm not one that believes that one should just sit in a seat for years and years without being effective. And I think I've certainly been effective. But when the mayor asked me to consider reappointment, I decided to do it because I think finally our city, the electorate, our elected leaders sitting here today and other elected leaders are finally ready to move forward on transportation. And I, like you, I'm very passionate about transportation issues, and I think it is the single most important issue in our city, because I think when we get this right, we also get housing right, we get jobs right, we get economic development right, and we'll make a lot of folks happy and increase the quality of life here in Los Angeles. So I'm certainly supportive of the half-cent sales tax. As we discussed before, I haven't seen the research on whether we could pass a larger sales tax than that, but certainly supportive of a half cent. I also applaud Councilwoman Wendy Gruhl and her leadership on the Transportation Committee in setting forth a strategic plan for transportation. And it's been my opinion since I started on the commission that we needed a big picture vision for transportation in our city. And I think we finally have that. But what happens often with the strategic plan is it falls by the wayside. So what I would simply encourage this council to do and the Transportation Committee to continue to do is to push that plan forward, to update it, to make sure that it's relevant and that it's current. I'd also encourage the council to take a look at our special parking revenue fund. I know it's a sensitive issue for the city, but I think that particular fund can be used to enhance transportation, housing, and economic development opportunities in our city. And I think we should look at areas in particular where the fund is or where communities have not had great access to the fund or where it's been underutilized. And even with the house and sales tax, hopefully that will give us the funds that we need to make an aggressive move in advancing some of our transportation issues. But certainly, I would say we still need to have a strong presence at the federal and state levels, making sure that we bring home the dollars for transportation in Los Angeles. And so as I sit on the commission and as I question whether it's still important for me to be there, the answer for me is yes. And I will personally be advocating for those particular issues and offering my support as much as possible to each of you on transportation issues.
Well, we're very proud to have you in the 11th District, and one other area is the buses and bus-only lanes. We're working on one on Wilshire Boulevard. We have federal funds, some $23 million coming our way right now. The secret thing is being done by both MTA and DOT, a couple of $400 grand being spent on that. But when we go forward with our mass transit ideas, we cannot neglect the buses. They're there. 1.4 million people go on them now. We need cleaner buses, and we need more bus-only lanes. So I look forward to your support for buses as well, which frankly right now is the cheapest way of getting the mass transit going if you have bus-only lanes and you're able to make them swift and clean and comfortable at the same time. For instance, I've been fighting for an express bus on Venice Boulevard. It's a no-brainer. Wouldn't it be nice if I could take the bus downtown rather than the milk run every 3 blocks it stops? But I appreciate your leadership, and I look forward to working with you in the months and years ahead. Thank you, Mr.
very
President.
much. And buses are absolutely important, but what's more important is an integrated transportation system, and one that involves rail, buses, walking, biking, cars, carpool lanes, all of those things. That's the answer for our city, and we've got to focus on the big picture. So thank you.
Absolutely. We have 5 members in the queue, but starting with the chair of our Transportation Committee, Ms. Gruhl. After that is Mr. Reyes, Mr. Alarcon, Ms. Hahn, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Reddock was at our committee this last week, I think it was last week, and we had the opportunity to talk about her accomplishments and what she's done on the commission. And as I said to people, she is really engaged and used all of her experiences to deal with the issue of transportation. When we talk about advocacy, and you indicated the importance of going to the state and federal government and getting our fair share, too. As Ms. Hahn and I were just talking about the land use and transportation and how the two are inextricably linked, and how we can even work with you as with your other hat on as a community college board member. So we look forward to you, as you've now been a commissioner 3 years?
6 years.
6 years.
Right. That's what I reevaluated whether it was still important for me to be here, and I think there was a little frustration in prior years because I don't think the electorate was ready for the aggressive moves that we need to take on transportation, but I think they're ready now. Everyone's frustrated, and so I think this is the right time to be involved in this issue, and I still have a lot to offer. So
I think you're right, and I think that the timing for the public at large as well is critical. People are interested in what's happening and want to see something done about it, are willing to change their behaviors, potentially even willing to put a little bit of money in as long as they know it's going for the right things.
Exactly.
And so the commission, I think this has been one of the most activist commissions on transportation because of, as we know, there's some of the charter doesn't give as much power to this commission that I think maybe in the future we should look at as we look at charter review. I know Special Parking Revenue Fund, we look forward to seeing some of the changes I know recommended as well in the audits. But I just wanted to stand up and say thank you because you're a real community activist at every step of the way. You don't shy away from some of the tough issues, transportation being one of them. So thank you for that, and to let my colleagues know, as chair of the Transportation Committee, we wholeheartedly support your reappointment and your willingness to serve. So
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Gruhl. Mr. Reyes is our next speaker.
Thank you, Council President. Good day.
How are you?
Thank you for your patience. You've been waiting all morning.
Thank you. No problem.
A couple of things. One is I've been trying my best to get the MTA to look at this city more comprehensively, especially with our maintenance yards. We have a maintenance yard right next to Elysian Park, between the river, that they were supposed to have moved 12 years ago. When I was chairing and the Joint Powers Authority, we finished the GO line. We had developed these transit stations, the GO line, and the maintenance yard was supposed to go somewhere else. and it hasn't yet. As a matter of fact, they want to add on to it.
Right.
They have a half cent tax, with no strategy for the maintenance yards for any of the lines. And so now we're asking for a vision that speaks to a maintenance yard that's more comprehensive, but more importantly, allows the community to respond to where it should be located, because currently they are not doing that.
Right.
As Planning Commission for 6 years, have you had the opportunity to engage the MTA directly or indirectly on our transportation issues? Please hold my time.
Okay. Most on the Transportation Commission, most definitely. I also serve as the co-chair of the Transportation Committee for Councilman Rosendahl's Empowerment Congress, and that's a very activist group where we invite leaders from the various different transit agencies to visit with us and to talk about strategies for transportation. And on several occasions now, we have invited leaders from MTA and have been very forthright in expressing our views about the lack of vision, but before recently, a lack of a real plan from MTA that included the entire region, and one that involved grassroots participation. And so I'm certainly an advocate for that. As a commissioner, we don't get direct access to the MTA. You know, you have the representation from your council and from the mayor's office, but certainly whatever I can do and whatever we can do to be supportive and advocating before the MTA, I agree that that's absolutely important.
You know, and as we go through this incredible crunch that we're feeling because of gas prices, the notion of bicycles and their role in our transit system needs to be raised. Its priority has to be increased within the eyes of the department. I think right now there's 2 or 3 staff that actually deals with all the bicycle issues in this great city. We've had motions come in the past 6 months. I've asked for a pilot project in my district for bicycle pathways, alternative routes, road diets, looking at how we could improve the safety measures of how we get folks on bikes, access on rail stations, especially the ones along the goal line, since they're already there, the stations. Do you see yourself as commissioner asking the department or directing them to increase or improve their support for bicycle issues?
Well, I see, as I indicated before, I see myself advocating for an overall integrated system, with bicycles being a central part of that. I don't think we can fix it with just buses or bikes or rail or what have you, but bicycles for sure are an integrated part. And in my own community of Westchester, there are a number of bicycle activists, and we, you know, as a community have really advocated for the increase of bicycles and our bicycle lanes and pathways in our own community, and we're starting to see that. So I can certainly see myself supporting that as a citywide measure.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to pick one over the other.
Right.
What I'm asking is, given the limited amount of resources dedicated towards bikes and the whole issue of the bike system, the bike element within the transportation element, do you see yourself raising that issue to have more attention given to bicycles?
No, I definitely can do that. And as I sit here and think, we have, as a commission, we haven't talked about bicycles in a long time. So I certainly will ask our general manager, Rita Robinson, to agendize that issue so we can get an update on where the city is and where we are in particular in your district.
Well, perhaps as chairman of Planning, Land Use, and Management, as we push forward on the transportation element, that we look at how we can engage that issue and raise it to a level where we can see more productivity on the streets.
Most definitely.
But I thank you
so
for your
much.
spirit, and thank you for your energy, and most importantly, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Hahn is our next speaker. Ms. Hahn? Our next speaker is Ms. Hahn.
Thank you. Phyllis. Angela.
Good morning.
Good morning. First of all, congratulations for agreeing, and thank you for agreeing to serve on this commission. It's hard to believe that it's been 6 years since you've been on this commission, but I think you're right. A lot has, I think, galvanized the residents of Los Angeles around traffic. And there are so many issues that are so compelling about traffic gridlock in Los Angeles. But one of the things I'm very concerned about, and Councilmember Gruhl sort of alluded to it, was this connection between planning and traffic.
Right.
And one of the things that I'm hearing loud and clear, particularly from a large group of people in San Pedro where there's a proposed major development going on, is that there is some skepticism about how our DOT comes up with their traffic counts as it relates to a proposed development, whether it's how many trips a senior takes or whatever it is that, and I know Councilmember Gruhl actually has a motion that I think is making its way through the process right now. We would like to see your commission, and we would like to see the department re-look at how we come up with our formulas. And we think they're kind of based on national statistics, and you know how we feel in LA. We feel everything in LA is unique to us, and I agree. I think the idea of a senior taking so many trips per day may have worked or may work in other parts of the country, but I think seniors here in LA are maybe a different breed. That's just one example, and I would love for your commission to take it up as a policy issue. Should we take a good look and overhaul how we come to achieve our traffic counts? Because when DOT puts their stamp of approval on the developer's EIR because of this formula of traffic counts, again, a lot of people are feeling that they're a little off. They don't really reflect what it's like today in our daily traffic gridlocks. And nobody knows better than Angelina knows of the reality of people in their cars and the impact that has on your basic quality of life. So of all the issues that I would talk to you about today, that would be one that I would love your commission to take a look at, work with planning, work with DOT, and maybe look at an LA model for traffic counts as it relates to proposed developments that are going in residential neighborhoods in Los Angeles. And I think that will go a long way towards regaining the public's trust on how we evaluate traffic and then how we mitigate the traffic impacts of development. And I think the time is now to do that. So one of the things I'd love to have you look at, and I know that's something you get from your perspective.
No, I do. I absolutely agree with you. And two things. I think one, with the leadership we now have in the planning department and the transportation department, those two leaders are working together, so it's helping to move issues like that forward in a much more effective way. And I think we haven't stopped and really looked at our model, and that we need to do that in a very serious way. I mean, again, my community of Westchester and the West Side is very activist, so activist that when an EIR is produced on a particular project, there are individuals who will go out and actually do the traffic counts themselves to dispute the reports from the DOT and the consultants. So I think we really need to look seriously at that issue, and I will bring that forward.
Because I think it makes us look more like we're a partner with our communities. I know I'm over, but the other thing I'd love for you to take a look at is the Neighborhood Council's MOU with DOT. And that's kind of been stalled a little bit. The DWP has a good MOU with neighborhood councils. The neighborhood councils are trying to have the same kind of working partnership with DOT, and if that would love for your commission to just keep an eye on that and try to move that forward.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you very much. Mr. Huizar is our next speaker, and then Mr. Zine.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I simply wanted to get up and thank you for your service on this commission, Angela, and I've been following the work you've been doing, not only in this commission, but at the Community College Board of Trustees, and I know you've been someone who's very vocal there to advocate for education for many of our people in the city of Los Angeles and beyond. So thank you for your work, and I look forward to continue working with you. You're the right type of person to have on this commission, who has a lot of energy, focus, commitment, and dedication, and I think that shows in the results that we've seen from this commission and pushing us even further to do more. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Zine. Mr. Zion, if you want to join us, you're the next speaker. Just grab the microphone right there.
Morning.
Good morning.
You mentioned all types of transportation, but with this gas problem and gas approaching $4.50, $5, etc., a lot of people are resorting to two-wheel, motor scooters, motorcycles. When you're looking at transportation and bike routes, etc., consider that aspect, because as I see in many other countries where gas is $10 a gallon or $7 a gallon, a lot of people have resorted to the scooters. Many of them don't have a route. They're riding between cars on the left side of the road, etc. And I think with this situation that's not going to improve with the price of fuel being reduced, we need to somehow consider what happens when large numbers of our population turn to the scooters. Not so much the big motorcycles, but the scooters. I see more and more of those on the highway, people commuting back and forth to work. While they can't go on the freeway, in many cases they don't have enough horsepower, they're flooding our surface streets. So when you're looking at all those other factors, I'd encourage you to consider that so we cover all aspects of transportation. I think the best freeway we have is the 105, where you got the train down the center, then you got the carpool lane, then you got the regular lanes for traffic. Even that gets congested at times.
Right.
But we've forgotten about this other mode of transportation. It's becoming more and more popular just because of the price of fuel, and people need to commute back and forth to work instead of the price they're paying for gasoline using the other mode of transportation where you can get 40 or 50 miles per gallon. So I just want to throw that in the equation.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the mayor appointing you. 6 years you've been on commission.
Yes.
It seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
And tomorrow will be another day. So
Right.
hopefully we can resolve those issues. I know Councilmember Grewal has been working tirelessly to try and help our transportation issues, and Bill Rosendahl with the airport to get that green line finally into the airport. But all those issues affect our quality of life. So as a commissioner, we put you in charge to make it better. So congratulations. Welcome for another 6 years.
Hopefully just a couple more.
All right. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Alarcon.
Hi.
Good morning.
I actually didn't have a question that was directly relative to the Transportation Commission. Rather, the question is relative to your job.
Yes.
The County of Los Angeles has an interesting perspective on the Brown Act.
Yes.
You are the county council who interprets the law relative to the Brown Act for the
I think
county.
you're talking about the previous appointee, Nidra Jenkins. I'm in private practice.
Oh, okay. But do you consult the county on the Brown Act?
No, I am a hearing officer for the county Civil Service Commission. So as a hearing officer, I hear personnel matters.
Okay.
But I
Okay, then I'll just simplify. I just want to make sure that your interpretation of the Brown Act does not conflict with the city attorney's interpretation of the Brown Act.
No, it does not. I mean, sitting on the Community College Board as well as the Transportation Commission, I'm very aware of the Brown Act and seek at all times to honor the Brown Act.
Okay. Well, anyway, I want to thank you for your service. I know you're doing a good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That is our last speaker on the queue. So we appreciate not only your ongoing service here in the Transportation Commission, but your one of your other two day jobs as well as the member of the Board of Trustees for our Community College District. You do an exemplary job, and it's really great to work with you, and hope to continue to be able to bring those two government entities together as well, because transportation is so important to our students, I know, at our colleges. So with that, let's go ahead and open the roll on... Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. We do have some cards. On item 24, we have Mr. Zuma Dog first.
So, yes, I'd like 1 minute, please. And this is the Transportation Committee. And what I'd like Council to be aware of for this appointment, anybody who's Transportation Committee member, we need to be aware that we don't have enough infrastructure and public transportation. And I am here to issue a hardcore, serious warning and alert. The highest of crisis is ahead because we have a city council that's on some wacky, nutty, smart growth, high density, some type of crazy density growth program, and they keep building and building and building and building and building and building and building, and we don't have enough transportation, public transportation as we speak, and we don't have enough infrastructure, and that's not going to change anytime soon. We're going to have all these problems before the solutions get here by a long shot, and I'm telling you, the city's going to be shut down. The federal government's going to have to get involved because the U.S. ports aren't going to be able to deliver goods through to the rest of the country, all because of the city council density. So, Commissioner, tell them to stop building so much.
Mr. Arnold Sachs is our next speaker. After that is Matt Dowd.
Good morning. Arnold Sachs, congratulations on your appointment, or reappointment. I'd just like to point out there was an article in the LA Times on the 16th of June. OCTA prepares for more riders. 6 months ago, Orange County transit officials sat down to develop a plan to address a potential nationwide fuel crisis. The worst case scenario, gasoline selling for $4.50 a gallon. A worst case scenario is emerging now. So my question is, does the Transportation Committee, or LADOT, have any kind of worst case scenario? Orange County Transportation Authority has a contingency plan for 150 buses. They have an option to buy 57 more buses. Does the Transportation Committee have any kind of contingency plans going like that? I understand that the article says they have 225,000 daily riders for OCTA. Now, we may not have that many, but nevertheless, is there a contingency plan? Is there a contingency plan to add more commuter express buses? Is this a brand new crisis that we're facing? You hear the council members talk about all these rail things. Which rail line do you support? Do you support the red line? Do you support the purple line? Do you support the subway to the sea? Do you support the Mid-Wilshire corridor line? Do you support the Expo line? Do you support the Expo Mid-City line? Which one of these should we throw our support behind? Which one of these should the half-cent tax that they're looking for to line their pockets, which should we pay for? Do you have some answers for those questions? Because we'll be looking for answers. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your answers.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Matt Dowd is our next speaker.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to apologize if I was offensive in any way to Channel 35. City attorneys will do that to you. But anyway, I want to talk about this transportation commissioner. And look, you know, I don't want to go to the west side any time of the day if I can help it. I don't want to drive anywhere, but we need to think outside the box. We need a transport system where people can take their bicycle with them, because that's the number one thing, getting from the train or the bus station to the home or the workplace, which is not on the bus route. So we need transportation, and consider the bicycle people, because a bike's a great way. It's a flat city for the most part, and bikes are very convenient. We need bike lanes, and let's find a way to fit all the cyclists in the plans, because that's going to take a lot of stress off the freeways and the road systems. Hope you're listening, Janice. Thank you.
That will end our public comment on the commission nomination. So with that, let's go ahead and open the roll, please. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you very much again for a third term.
Thank you very much to all of you.
Congratulations. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, is item number 18 that was reconsidered, and I believe called special by Councilmember Grohl.
Okay, Ms. Gruhl on item number 18.
Thank you. And colleagues, on under 18, we had approved it, and it went by kind of quickly. And I just wanted to make sure what the report asked for. This is convening a task force, construction and excavation work task force, to review the municipal code regarding noise due to construction and excavation work. And it's asking, and the adoption of it would ask them to report back in 60 days on some potential changes that could be made. And I want to just make sure that the departments, building and safety, planning and engineering, look at the aspect of not only having the rules, but enforcing the rules. And I'll give you an example. In my district, there are three different bridges that are being upgraded, two of which had extraordinary public outreach meetings. The third had nothing. And in fact, our office wasn't even informed. And in fact, the way I found out about it was I heard the pounding in the morning before 7 o'clock a.m. We thought we had, in fact, corrected this. And then recently again, it started when the neighbors were not informed. So I want to make sure that the report that comes back looks specifically at one, our enforcement of that, and two, the potential of how we can put some disincentives for them not abiding by. And again, this is a city project. We're not even talking about ones that are private. This is a city project where the notification did not occur to the community and to the neighborhood. And so I would ask that be included in the report as well, and I think that probably is acceptable to the chair of that committee too. Thank you very much, Mr. President. That was just my 2 cents today on that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gruhl. You can open the roll again on 18, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. We can take, Mr. Reyes, do you want 22 and 23 together? Okay. We can take up items 22 and 23. Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, I call this special on behalf of Councilor Labange, request on the staff. It's a technical change, actually, dealing with the following language, that we should strike from the supplemental fee agreement the last 6 words contained in Section 12 at the end of the first sentence, and those are, in quotes, and attached as Appendix J here too. So I know folks that are involved with this are familiar with that language, so I'm passing forward on behalf of Councilor Labange this request to have that technical change, and that would be for items 22 and 23. On item 23 in particular, I did want to first acknowledge and give my gratitude to the Universal Project in participating in the U.S. Green Building Council's LEED, which is the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design for Neighborhood Development pilot program. And I want to ask the staff to just come to the table. And what does that mean in very general terms? I do know that Councilor Labange has stated, I'm echoing his thoughts, that he would love to see a stronger connection with the Los Angeles River in terms of bike paths, access. When you look at the whole community in the context of this great project, how we can stimulate the kind of relationships in urban design that actually meets the LEED, the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design pilot program standards. Can you just speak in generalities? What could that mean?
Okay. John Foreman with the City Planning Department. Councilman, as you know, that the City Council recently had before it the Green Building Ordinance, and under LEED, individual developments can apply for different standards, gold, silver, platinum, and it deals with reduction of C2O gases, recycling, and other things that make the buildings responsive to the environment. What LEED ND does is it looks beyond individual buildings to an entire neighborhood. And the applicants have indicated that this pilot program that LEED has, they will be a part of, that will look at using recyclable materials, water conservation, reuse of water on a neighborhood-wide basis instead of on an individual building basis.
Great. And again, I know Councilor Labange has advocated many times to bikeway connection. I know as chair of the River Committee, along with my colleagues, we've invested a lot of time and money in bringing the river back to life and creating a real relationship with the local communities. So I want to thank and encourage the folks behind the Universal Project that we can actually see something real and that has a demonstrative example of how we can do that. And I look forward to working with you and wish you a lot of luck and hope to continue working with you as we push forward in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Anybody else wishing to be heard? If not, let's go ahead and open the roll on 22 and 23 together. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, Mr. President, is item 33, and that was called special for cards.
All right, item 33 is next before us. Donna Pearman is our first speaker on item 33.
Number 33. First, I want to say I put in for number 53, but if it got lost, I want to say let the ethics look at the city council and the city whether they go by the Brown Act. Anyway, number 33. Sorry, I also meant to say that was ZumaTimes.com, not ZumaDog. ZumaTimes.com, great information. Folks, this is a CRA, Crooks Redevelopment Agency. Wouldn't know an honest day's work if it was handed to them. We're talking about using all our tax increment money on project nobody wants, like the big project outside people are protesting about. A big warehouse which adds pollution, loss of open and green space. That the city council love things green. Traffic congestions, poor air quality, increased health hazards, global climate change, and greenhouse gas emissions. Most probably a CRA project. We must stop the CRA, stop them from stealing our badly needed money. I could say that about any CRA projects, Grand Avenue project, NoHo project, huge Hollywood projects, using our badly needed water. Councilman Rosendahl has the right idea. No CRA in his district. We need more councilmen to really look at the CRA and don't get fooled. There's no ethics in the CRA. They're bankrupting the city and stealing our tax increment money. And in the meantime, they have to praise everything that they have to worry about using our Proposition S money. They have to worry about raising the DWP rates. They have to worry about letting more people lose their homes. Let's stop the CRA. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Zuma Dog.
Yes, I carry my agenda in my Hannah Montana backpack to get me more happy and excited to come to these meetings like I hope kids with school. CRA, first of all, biggest problem, they're bankrupting the city. Here's some problems. First of all, they're supposed to oversee community development. Most of the CRA money is used for staff, $120 staff salaries. A lot of the money just goes to staffs and huge overhead. Front-end loaded, top-heavy management contracts. Let's hire some consultants. Let's hire some staffers for the consultants. Let's make a big, expensive study. The money doesn't get used for where it's supposed to. The community's cheated, and it first farther into Blythe. Also, the money that's used for the CRA programs is based on revenue projections, money that is coming in to the CRA. I'm here to tell you that we're going to be in big problems. They're not going to be able to even provide the fake, phony things that they're falsely promising. Even those won't be able to be delivered upon. And things like, look at the Grand Avenue project. They had to take $26 million from emergency shelter money for the Grand Avenue project park. They know that the CRA is not going to have the money that they need for all the things they promised, and especially when it is a lot of, $120,000 salaries and consultants and surveys, and, it's just the biggest scam in the city. Okay, now at a smaller level, we've got the nonprofit money that city council sits here and approves and funnels into their front-end of load management contracts with no accountability. But that's small potatoes to the CRA. They're bankrupting the city, and don't expect any money from this Grand Avenue project. The whole city's big projection roll of the dice is on the fact that this Grand Avenue project's going to revitalize downtown and be the hub of economic development. It ain't going to happen. They can't even get it off the ground. They had to go to the royal family of Dubai. They have to funnel money from Parks and Emergency Shelter. It ain't happening. The city's going under because of the CRA.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dog. That is our last speaker on this item. If we can open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Okay, that is approved. Number 34 just had if we can take that up next, I believe there's just a card from Mr. Dog, and he has reached 5-minute limit, so we can prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. And item 37, the same. We'll add that name into the record. Please prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. And skipping ahead to 45, there's the same context, I believe, as well. Get a card from Mr. Dog. We'll enter that into the record. And if we can prepare the roll on 45 and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. Yes, sir. You reached 5 limit. minute limit. So we'll go to the next one, please, called special.
Next item is item number 39, and that was called special for cards.
All right, item number 39. We can please invite Mr. Arnold Sachs forward on item 39. We have 1 minute left, Mr. Sachs. Thank you.
I think I can cover that. Thank you. Another bid, again, and I refer back to the bid that was given to the Hollywood Property Entertainment District. I see no mention of an owners association. I see no mention of a property owners alliance. So my curiosity is there a structure for these bids? Why in this one particular, or other bids like the one downtown and the one in the Garment District and the one that just got $30 million from the state, there are no other associations? But with the Hollywood Property Owners bid, or the Hollywood Entertainment bid, we have an owners association and we have a Hollywood Property Owners Association. So is there a standard? We're looking for a standard here. Thank you. Look, and I appreciate all the people paying attention. This is the kind of legislation that we need to have some law and order on. I wish that the Ethics Committee would still be around. Thank you for your time, your answers, and your attention, as always.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Let's go ahead and prepare the roll on that item, 39, and tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Item 40, called special for cards.
Okay, Donna Pearman is our next speaker on item number 40. Ms. Pearman, item number 40. Sorry, and while you're coming up, hold on 1 second, Ms. Pearman. Mr. Reyes?
With on items 22 and 23.
Yeah, we'll do all items. I meant to announce that earlier, forthwith, without objection. Okay. Ms. Pearman, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and I also wanted to say I put it in 28, so I want to put on the record I'm against 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. I don't think you're going to use the money earmarked for what you say you're going to use it for. Anyway, let's go over to number 40. I wish Sharon Brewer is here. Please come back. Don't be discouraged. We're asked to add to our property taxes, utilities, our entertainment, our gasoline, and our internet, our sales tax. As in the city employees, they must find savings or else. Yet the city council keeps on waiving fees. Fee waivers. Here the council. Spend money. 4 block parties. We have 4 block parties costing $1,188. 2 block parties for $1,226. 1 block party for $2,226. Are they helping Parks get reelected money? It's not money. I don't know why it's more money than the others. And you had the YIMBY Correct Day for $5,320, and it's done after the fact, and Sharon told you that that's not right. And you look at one that's on the J, where American Heroes, they don't have, what do you want to have, a blank check? You didn't put it down an amount. And so it's near enough in July to figure out. We have to be against these fee waivers. We just can't be letting people celebrate and having parties all over the place on the cost of the city. We are going bankrupt. We are going down, and we can't just say, well, I'm going to pass this because it belongs to my district and you will pass that one. So we need to stop these fee waivers before we have to see you and make you stop. Close the roll, tabulate the vote, 12 ayes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Matt Dowd. And you have 1 minute left, so.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Special event
I'm
fee
sorry.
waivers.
You have 2 minutes left. My
I have
mistake.
2?
Yep.
Thank you for that kindness, because I would have bought the 1 minute too, and you might have got away with that, so I really appreciate the fact that you actually showed some transparency, and that's a good sign for the city of Los Angeles. I'm going to approve these fee waivers. There's a couple of, there's an interesting thing. We got 3 block parties for Scar City, but that's the kind of thing I want to see. Why the block parties are good for the community. And there's one here. We're reimbursing the event sponsor will reimburse the city. So these all look pretty good. I'm going to say vote these through. the National Night Out event. Tom LaBonge, I haven't seen him for a while, Tom LaBonge, so we miss Tom LaBonge. The great city of Los Angeles misses you. Come back to work. Thank you.
Thank you. That'll close our public comment on this one. If we can please open the roll and close the roll. Please tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that is approved. Item 54, we also had a card from Mr. Dog. If we can take up item 54.
Mr. President, that's Commission, Board of Rec and Parks Commission action, and the recommendation for, council needs to consider that, and council may either approve or disapprove only.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move the action there. Ms. Perry, Ms. Perry, on item 54.
Thank you, Mr. President. To my colleagues, the Department of Recreation and Park issued the report of General Manager on June 4th, 2008. The title of the report was Pershing Square Allocation of Zone Change Park Fees for Palm Court Improvements. The item was passed that day by the Recreation and Parks Commission. The report calls for an allocation of $190,000 at the park in the Palm Court area. Now, a council office was not included in this decision-making process, and there were no community outreach meetings or no outreach to D-Lank, and there was not a lot of external explanation regarding this expenditure. Pershing Square is the city's second oldest park, and yes, it is in need of rehabilitation, but it should be a holistic approach. There is a $1 billion project that is slated for the north side of the park. And as one of its goals, this project has stated that they will assist us in substantially renovating Pershing Square. The project's developers have allocated a substantial seven-figure sum for the park in their proposal through the transfer of floor area ratio. Floor area rights, I'm sorry. This expenditure during very tough economic times for the city may be redundant, and one whose improvements may be undone or torn out by the proposed large-scale park renovation by the developers of the Park Fifth project. This is why I've asked for a 245 today, to bring this item back, send it back to Commission, and to allow us to participate in the process and the public too. So I just ask for your support in vetoing Recreation and Parks' decision to expend these funds so that we are not being wasteful, and so that we can go back to the Commission and develop an overall broad, holistic strategy to revitalizing Pershing Square. I'm asking for an aye vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Perry. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and take the action as recommended by Ms. Perry. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, that is approved. Item 55, called special by Mr. Rosendahl. I'd like to recognize him. And item 55 is the HIV non-discrimination in travel and immigration legislative program support. Mr. Rosendahl.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Our nation's immigration policy has many flaws. We are all aware of many of them. Families are torn apart, undocumented workers abused, people dying, crossing the desert in search of a better life. But there is one horrible element of our immigration policy most Americans do not know about. It is this. The United States government keeps the doors to our borders shut to people who have HIV. HIV is the only medical condition that renders people inadmissible to the United States. The United States is one of only 12 countries that prohibit, almost without exception, HIV-positive non-citizens from entering this country. The other countries include the Sudan, Russia, Libya, Saudi Arabia, and China recently reversed its ban. This is an unjust and stupid law that criminalizes disease. It was created by the former Senator Jesse Helms, whose political career was based on creating fear and demonizing people. There is no just cause for continuing this policy. There is a chance to change this law right now. The United States Senate will consider this month HIV Non-Discrimination in Travel and Immigration Act. I ask you to join me today and give unanimous approval to this resolution, which would put the City of Los Angeles on record as supporting repeal of this ban and support of Non-Discrimination Act. And I ask for an aye vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendahl. Mr. Weezer.
Thank you very much. And Bill, I just wanted to stand up and give you my strong support for this. I think that our immigration policies obviously need to take a look at. We sometimes have some policies on there that focuses on people and who they are, what they look like compared to what's the right thing to do for this country. You know, not only here, but right now we have a policy where we are dividing families. If there is a U.S.-born child here and their parents are deported, we separate those families. We believe strongly in this country in family reunification and the values of making sure the families are intact, because we know when families are together, when we act as units in this country, all other things fall in place. The children get well educated because you have parents advocating for them. We keep those kids away from our jails. But we have an immigration policy in this country that makes no sense. I know that immigration policy sometimes sparks people's nerves and we get into a great big debate. But the fact of the matter is that in no time in the history of this country have we had some policies that absolutely make no sense. And Bill, this is something that we need to illuminate and show how ridiculous this is. Some of these people who can come to this country to get the medical attention they need are being denied that accessibility. And that makes no sense at all, just like many of the other immigration laws we have today. And I know immigration issues sets off hot topics and debates, but you know, the fact of the matter is if people really sat down and looked at the rationale for some of these things, they'd all agree that we need to do something to change that. And I think this helps us move in that direction. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huizar. If there's nobody else who wishes to be heard, let's go ahead and prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendahl. We will now be going into closed session in accordance with state law for our legal matters that are before us today. Before we do that, I want to see if we're going to maybe move some of those items. Mr. Zine, on a few of these items, I know the Budget Committee has already considered these. Should we move 47? Item 47. There's 47, 48, and 49. We would. Okay, 47 through 51. Does anybody wish to speak about those in closed session? If not, let's go ahead and Ms. Gruhl moves the settlements on those from Budget and Finance Committee.
And, Mr. President, for the record, the amount should be read.
Yep. If we can go through each one of those and read the settlement amounts, Mr. City Attorney or Madam Clerk.
The first item is item 47, and that settlement in the case of Wilkerson versus City of Los Angeles, $99,567 plus a life pension thereafter of $46.73 per week.
Okay. Anybody wish to be heard? If not, let's prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That's approved. Next one, please.
Next one is item 48, and that settlement in the case of Jesse Williams versus City. That's also workers' comp, and the stipulated amount is $101,493.50.
Okay, let's go ahead and prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 49. That's in the case of Salcedo versus City of LA, and that's also workers' comp, $100,165, and plus a life pension thereafter $42.52.
Okay, let's go ahead and prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 50 is a settlement in the case of Gorbold versus City of LA, also workers' comp, $163,312 and 50 cents.
Okay, let's go ahead and prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Next item.
Last one is item 51, and that's workers' comp also, and that's $116,062.50.
Okay, let's go ahead and prepare the roll on 51 and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
And Mr. Zine's questions, I think, were answered on 52. Okay, we'll hold that anyway. We should probably get the information on that one as well. Okay, so we'll go into closed session now in accordance with California state law for items 46 and 52. Thank you all. If you can clear the council chambers, we'll come back into open session as soon as we're done. Thank you. All right, we're back in open session. If we can please announce and take an open session vote on 46.
And that settlement in the case of Steiny and Company versus City of LA, and the amount is $221,992.84.
Okay, that is before us. If we can open the roll, Madam Clerk, close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that settlement goes forward. Next order of business, please.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Let's post and refer those.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Weezer requests to be excused Tuesday, August 5th for personal business. That meets council policy.
All right, Mr. Weezer is excused.
Councilmember Weiss requests to be excused July 29th to arrive at 10:15 for city business. That also meets council policy.
Okay, he is excused as well.
And Councilmember Hahn requests to leave early at 12:45 on Wednesday, July 9th, and also to leave at noon on Wednesday, August 5th, and those both meet council policy, and they are both for city business.
Okay, she is excused as well.
And that clears the desk.
Okay, Ms. Perry?
Parks has asked me to make sure that item 11 was sent forthwith.
Everything's forthwith today.
Great, thank you very much.
No problem. Any announcements of a business nature, folks? We can come back after adjourning motions, Mr. Rosen, also, don't worry. Ms. Perry?
Wednesday, July the 2nd, today at 6 p.m. at the Midnight Mission, we are celebrating, or at least marking or observing, the third-year anniversary of the Skid Row Neighborhood Watch Walk. And this is an effort that we've been making now, again, for 3 years, to outreach to people who are homeless and to provide them with opportunities to get services and a place to live. So that's 6 o'clock tonight at the Midnight Mission.
Okay. Mr. Rosendahl? Sorry, Mr. Reyes? Ms. Rosendahl?
Yes. I'd like to invite all of you and anyone who's listening, and everyone, we're kicking off free concerts tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the Levitt Pavilion, MacArthur Park. The weekly summer series includes 50 performances featuring Grammy-nominated musicians and emerging talents from around the world. The concerts run through September 14th, every Wednesday to Sunday at 7:30 p.m., unless otherwise noted. We'll be targeting children's performances on Sundays beginning at 6:30 p.m. The 2008 lineup includes critically acclaimed salsa band Son Mayor and local Mexicano and Cuban jazz Rhythm Heroes, Quetzal, amongst others. Bring a picnic, dinner, lawn chairs, a cozy blanket, or dancing shoes and enjoy the compelling rhythms and energizing beats. So please, it's a beautiful, renovated bandshell, thanks to the Levitt Pavilion Foundation, the city, and the community. You're all welcome.
Thank you very much. Do we have adjourning motions today? We're just going to do. Are you still waiting for your person to come, right? You want a different thing? Announcement? Okay, sorry. Mr. Rosendahl, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say two things. One, it's 3 years since I've been on the City Council. Officially, we started on July 2nd. And I just want to thank all my colleagues for giving me such an incredible 3 years working for the city. I want to thank all of those great constituents in the 11th District for engaging themselves in the political process. But looking at my colleagues on both sides of this horseshoe, it's been a lot of fun, and thank you for helping me enjoy my 3 years. Also, I just want to mention on the 4th of July that we're going to be in Westchester in a parade in the morning and up in the Palisades in the afternoon. There'll be a lot of various events on Venice Beach as well, and I welcome everybody to come down to Venice Beach this weekend as we celebrate the 4th of July, the fireworks and everything else. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Zine, then Ms. Han.
Thank you. Ms. Han first?
No,
Go ahead, Ms. Han.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Zine. I, too, wanted to invite everyone who doesn't have plans yet for the July 4th evening down at Cabrillo Beach, right down there on the sand. The Golden State Pops Orchestra will be playing. The fireworks will be starting between 8:30 8:45. There is nothing more gorgeous than seeing those fireworks shooting out over the ocean while you're listening to the Golden State Pops. So come on down to Cabrillo Beach in San Pedro if you don't have any other plans. But we just want to remind everybody that fireworks are illegal in the city of Los Angeles. I know our fire department is particularly concerned this year because of the dry condition of our hillsides and canyons and brush area. We know it's an American tradition to set off backyard fireworks, but they are illegal in the city of Los Angeles. And I've been told by our chief of police that we will be citing people this year for using fireworks in the city of Los Angeles. Go to a sponsored fireworks event where everyone can be safe, enjoy a good event without jeopardizing the health and public safety of our neighborhoods.
Mr. Zine, Ms. Rule, Mr. Weeser.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to echo the comments of my colleagues on that in the San Fernando Valley and Warner Center Park, a free concert, free fireworks show. We had a news conference a couple days ago with the police chief, representatives of the fire department, the other county sheriff's department. Law enforcement's very serious about enforcement of the fire code this year when it comes to fireworks. Don't take the chance, not only injury, but starting a fire. But there are free fireworks throughout the city of Los Angeles, free fireworks shows, so you're encouraged to do that in the San Fernando Valley, in the Southwest Valley, Warner Center Park. That's on Topanga, north of the 101 freeway. Free concert, free fireworks show. North part of the valley, Councilmember Greg Smith sponsors one at Shepherd of the Hills Church, near Rinaldi on the 118 freeway. So there are many, many locations to take your family to enjoy the 4th of July. We wish everyone a happy 4th of July.
Ms. Rule and then Mr. Weeser.
Just since we went down this path, I'm going to add on.
And I think Ms. Rule refers to the path of not quite making announcements during this time. But anyway, yes.
We do have in Valley Village a parade on Friday morning, also in Sunland Tujunga a parade on Friday morning. We also have in Studio City that evening at the CBS Studios an event that benefits nonprofits, a wonderful activity, and a pre-birthday greeting to my son, who will be 5 on Friday on the 4th of July.
Mr. Weezer.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I, too, want to announce a fireworks show this Saturday, July 5th at Hollenbeck Park. We have a concert before the fireworks, and the concert begins at 4 o'clock. This is the second annual fireworks show at Boyle Heights. And actually, this started last year because I remember driving around, and I saw billboards all over the place reminding people to go to public shows, that all fireworks are illegal. And then I looked around, and I said, well, what public show do we have in our community? We don't have any, so we started this one last year. And not only that, I remember as a young boy walking to the park in this neighborhood and seeing these beautiful fireworks shows, and a great way to build community community as well. We had a very successful one last weekend at El Sereno Recreational Center. I also wanted to take this moment to announce, where's Samantha? Samantha Yu, that many of you have known her to whisper in my ear throughout these last 2.5 years that I've been in council, and has done a tremendous job in advising me on the budget. And she also worked for me while I was on the school board. I'd like to think that this is a person that knows the most about youth development programs in this city. She is just a spectacular person. I used to work at the Commission for Children, Youth, and Families, and she's been a tremendous asset to our office. She's now moving on to a civil service job at DWP, and so she's going to still be in the city family, but will be working there on grant applications. It's something that she wanted to know more about, and I think the city is going to still benefit by having her here, but she has just been a tremendous asset and has made CD14 a better place because of Samantha. So thank you, and we're still going to be around here. Thank you so much.
In that spirit, I know Mr. Rosendahl and Ms. Perry also have goodbyes of their own. Mr. Rosendahl.
Mr. President, I wanted to take this opportunity. Come over here, Reverend. Okay. I wanted to congratulate Pamela Snowden, who henceforth should be referred to as Reverend Pamela Snowden. She was recently ordained as an interfaith minister after graduating from the One Spirit Interfaith Seminary in New York City. Now, she's got a long career with the city. I think it was 26 years with the city attorney's office, and has worked in my office since her retirement, and consulting with us and just giving us the benefit of her vast expertise. She's been instrumental in a number of economic development projects that have been quite successful in the 9th District, and I wanted to publicly congratulate her on her recent accomplishment as she lives the second half of her life, and I know that she will be an even greater reverend and an inspiration because of her background as a city attorney and now as an interfaith seminary graduate. So I just wanted to say congratulations, Reverend.
Thank you. Mr. Rosendahl.
I'm glad you're laughing.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we know good things happen in threes. 3 is a charm. This is the third person in an amazing way that has made an incredible contribution to this city. When Jan Perry and Eric and I created the Ad Hoc Committee on Homelessness, we needed a focus on that issue in the 11th District. Jen Maffen stepped to the plate. She has her MSW. Of course, I'm partial to that with my MSW. She was a student as an intern at UCLA and then came on our payroll. The amount that she has accomplished in 18 months on the homeless issue in the 11th District is extraordinary. Just to mention a few, we're looking at 50 permanent facility, 50 people with permanent supportive services. We're in the process of developing that. We're creating 24 units for low-income seniors and veterans and others, thanks to Jen Maffen. Last year, we were about to lose the winter shelter program. She scurried about, got 60 grand, and we put 315 people in housing that weren't there before. The Iraqi war has been going on, Afghan war. We opened the first in America transition house for Iraqi and Afghan vets right in our district. We have done with the St. Joseph Center an interaction with the community that is not always easy to deal with this issue. Jen Maffen is calm and patient and deal with the details and the follow-through that was so critical in dealing with the homeless issue. And as life goes on, she's taken a very senior job in Culver City dealing with seniors. It will be their gain and our loss. We love you, Jen Maffen. You've made a huge difference on the homeless issue and in the 11th District. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
And behind me, you can see my staff who are so enthused about her that the only sad thing I can say is these young people start with us, they're really bright, and other doors open, and we lose them. And it's been breaking my heart losing these good people, but I know that the world will be a better place as Jen Maffen continues to serve us in this new capacity. Great loss, but a great gain for the rest of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reyes? Yeah, okay. Mr. Alarcon?
Yes, members, in light of the announcements and remembering that Friday is a holiday, I just wanted to announce that the 15th annual Hanson Dam 4th of July celebration will be conducted. There are literally 30 to 35,000 people who celebrate there every year. We anticipate about 2,500 kids will use the aquatics at the world's largest modernized pool. And so I wanted to invite everybody to Hanson Dam. I also want to say that this year it's sort of an experiment. We are, instead of having fireworks, we're going to have a laser show, a very high-rated laser show for the people to enjoy. And we're sort of testing it out. If the community enjoys it, we'll bring it back. If they prefer the fireworks, we'll go back to the fireworks. But this, we thought, was an opportunity to test a more environmental, also dealing with some issues at the Aquatic Center. We thought this was the best way to go this year, but we'll see what happens next year. But we want to have everybody come out and enjoy the day on 4th of July.
Thank you. If I can ask everybody to please rise for our adjourning motions. Mr. Alacon.
Members, just a few months ago, I did an adjourning motion for Lily Euclides Rodriguez, who is Blinky Rodriguez's wife. Sadly, I am doing an adjourning motion for her brother, Armando Gilbert Euclides. He, too, was one of the famous Euclides martial arts experts. One of 9 brothers and sisters, 6 of whom became a champion and expert, martial arts expert. He was born the 3rd child amongst these 9 brothers and sisters. Of course, the father was a boxer and the mother was a wrestler, so of course they were going to have kids who were in the martial arts. Armando specialized in performing katas, which is the sort of choreography of martial arts, and performed in many arenas throughout the world. He studied martial arts for over 45 years, and his love for the arts inspired many. Of course, his brother Benny the Jet Euclides was a champion kickboxer and was voted Black Belt Magazine's Fighter of the Year in 1978. And, of course, Lily Rodriguez, who many of us know as a community activist, was one of the first women boxing champions and is in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. But Armando not only excelled in the family of martial arts pioneers, but he was also an accomplished architect, and as many in the Euclides family, was very devoted to the community. In fact, he used his ability to draft, design, and build several playgrounds for many underprivileged youth throughout the community. He lived for the longest time in the northeast San Fernando Valley. I remember in high school when the Euclides family lived in North Hollywood. Eventually he moved to Cagle Canyon and ultimately spent the last 9 months of his life in Harlingen, Texas. Very sad. He was diagnosed with cancer a couple of weeks ago. He was expected to live for 6 to 9 months. He passed just a couple of weeks after that diagnosis. So it's a very sudden death for the Euclides family. Most of all, Armando is known because he was one who gave his unconditional love. He was compassionate and encouraged those who were fortunate enough to have known him. A very religious, faith-based commitment to life in times of hardship. Armando's strength came from his family and faith in the Lord. His upbeat energy and big smile filled the room with joy. He will be remembered for his love of humanity. And of course, we extend our condolences to his many, many extended family that continue to live in the city of Los Angeles, and especially to Blinky Rodriguez, who has suffered his second loss in just a few months, and yet he is fighting day in and day out to protect our community, to reduce the scourge of gang violence. And so we extend a special condolence on behalf of the whole council to Blinky Rodriguez for his second loss in just a matter of a couple of months.
Thank you, Mr. Alacon. We'll have all members on that. Any other adjourning motions? Yes, Mr. Rosendahl?
Thank you, Mr. President. It is with heavy heart that I mention that Melvin Hayward Sr. passed away at age 59 on Sunday, June 29th. Melvin is a former city employee who worked for the Community Development Department as director of the Vera Davis McClellan Family and Youth Center in Venice during the late 90s and the early part of this decade. Prior to that, Melvin served as the director of the nationally recognized Pearl White Theater Group, an organization that gave hope and creative outlet to children in Oakwood neighborhood of Venice. In the 1990s, when gang violence was hurting his community, Melvin was a healing force. He worked tirelessly to build bridges, calm tensions, and create positive outlets for expression in the community, especially for children. He walked kids to school, took them to the library, created a homework center, and also worked on behalf of the community with the Venice Drug Coalition and the D.D. Hirsch Mental Health Center. Melvin was a native of Oakwood and was one of the most devoted sons. While the neighborhood changed dramatically during his short life, his love of and passion for his community never wavered. He could often be seen bicycling on the streets or socializing with any and all comers outside the Vera Davis Center or the Oakwood Recreation Center. He was a colorful figure and a natural comedian who would make everyone laugh. His son, Melvin Jr., who works at Venice 2000, wrote this, and I spoke with Melvin last night, and frankly, there isn't even enough money to bury him, and we're going to do a car wash, but this is what he said about his father. Melvin Hayward Sr., a soldier for his community, defending the rights of people who were treated unjustly, advocate and activist, father and grandfather, not only to his own children, but also to all the children of Venice, a coach of 20 years, a mentor, community leader, a cultural lightning rod exposing the kids to art and theater, a field trip enthusiast organizing trips to professional baseball games, summer water parks, and overnight camping at the Vera Davis Center. He wanted to give as much as he could to the community of Venice, as much as the day would allow. He never stopped, says his son. Big Mel, as his family referred to him, is survived by 6 brothers and sisters, 6 children, and 15 grandchildren. His service will be held at the First Baptist Church of Venice at 658 Westminster Avenue, Venice, California. It's at the corner of 7th at 1 p.m. Friday, July 11th. I'll be there for that. In order to help defray the costs of his burial, his friends and family will be holding a fundraising car wash this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the parking lot of the Oakwood Recreation Center at 767 California Avenue in Venice. I'll be taking my little Mustang there and getting it washed, and may he rest in peace.
Thank you very much. Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Diane Casey passed away June 24th. Born in Long Island, New York, to Bill and Jane Toomey, graduated from Chaminade High School in West Hills in 1978, received a bachelor's degree from the University of San Diego in 1982, graduated paralegal program in 1983. While working as a paralegal, she met her loving husband, Ed Casey. They married in 1988. Active volunteer at St. Mel's Catholic Church, as well as the Guadalupe Center in Canoga Park. Theme parks were her favorite pastime. She will be missed by all her family and friends, survived by her husband, Edward, sons Mike, Jim, and Stephen, siblings Stephen, Jennifer, and Gail, and 13 nieces and nephews. Diane Casey, may she rest in peace.
Any other adjourning motions? If not, we will not be in session this Friday for the holiday for Independence Day, but we will next be in session this following Tuesday. We look forward to seeing everybody here in Council Chambers. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.